Welcome back. You are watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are now going to be looking at the Bilingualism Commission. Cameroon is celebrating the Bilingualism Week. Last week we celebrated the Bilingualism Week. It was launched across the nation. We find out what the Bilingualism Commission has been able to bring to foster Cameroon's bilingualism effort. Are we on the right track? Are things better? Today we are going to be discussing this with our panelists who are in the house, but would like us to start with Tiku Felix from Boya.
It is a very good and a very important gesture, but as you know, no matter how good a gesture or a project is, what actually gives it credibility is the motive behind it. No matter how much I receive from you or how wonderful your gifts to me are, so long as the motive of your giving is wrong, it means even the fruit it will bear will be bad fruits. Let me put it this way. Like I just said, Cameroon is a bilingual country in which one language claims supremacy based on numerical advantage and has decided to erase the reality of it through a planned assimilation which actually didn't work, like the head of state cited. And one of the
that was not the first intervention. This should be the third intervention. You have to fix something there, Eli. There is a first intervention before this. We should start with the first intervention. But let's get to our panel out here. I'll start with... Okay, yes. Do you think anything has changed since the creation of the Bilingualism Commission as far as bilingualism is concerned?
I think, to the best of my knowledge, I know that during the reign of Amadou Ahijo, we had lycée bilingue de Boya. We have lycée bilingue de application Yaoundé. We have them all. We have lycées many ways. This bilingualism thing did not start today. It's an old thing in this country. The government has been fighting to foster bilingualism, but again, it has been used against the people of Southern Cameroon. Yes, because bilingualism, when you look at the scenario today, if you look at the scenario today, you cannot promote bilingualism under this present condition we are in today. Bilingualism, the intentions are good, but again, if you look at the situation today in this country, bilingual, we have been relegated to the background. We have been termed second-class citizens because of our background. We have lost so many colonial legacies because of our background. We lost marketing board, we lost Cameroon Bank, we lost a national marketing board, we lost Midino, we lost Santa Coffee. All those things have been replaced by French institutions.
Midino is still there now.
Okay, Midino is still there. It has been replaced by French institutions. These are legacy left behind by the British for us. But all those have been wiped and replaced by French institutions. You see, and the government of this country want to make sure that want to portray this country as a French-speaking country, not as a British-speaking country or an Anglophone country.
Yeah, but is it not because of their numerical strength?
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. You are right by saying that their numerical strength determine whichever decision they are taking. But if we see from the promotions of Anglophone from civil service, from the appointments of Anglophones to civil service.
No, but you are looking at the Anglophone problem. That's not what
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Yes.
The bilingualism system has, well, to some extent, as I said, it has its good part of it, and it has a negative part of it. But negative part of it outweighs the positive part of it. We cannot say bilingualism is not failed in this country. No. It has done its own good part. It has helped people.
But the commission was created some years back. You know
the commission created some years back because the bilingualism commission is even it was not even supposed to be created.
Okay.
It was not supposed, because these are white elephant structures created for people to amass wealth and to enrich people. Because the prevailing circumstances in this country now, it does not permit for such a white elephant structure to be created in order to use it as a yardstick or a parameter to link the two eyes, the English speaking and no. This bilingual commission is unnecessary. allow us to use our institutions of the allow us to use our institutions of the state, the secondary schools and what have you, the primary schools. Allow us to use the institutions of the state, the secondary schools, the primary schools, the technical schools. Let us use our institutions to promote bilingualism, not to come and create a commission on bilingualism in the heat of a crisis when the country is in serious turmoil. No. Allow institutions like secondary school, primary school, see the bilingual school, bilingual colleges, let them promote from that end. But not that you come and create a commission only for people to...
Your assessment of the commission since its creation, has anything changed in our bilingualism drive as a nation?
Well, I would say that one of the advantages we've inherited from the colonial master so far is the bilingualism aspect. Language is a very fundamental aspect of development, and I always say that knowing multiple languages is first of all individually advantageous. It's individually advantageous. I, as an individual, as a leader, I will first of all promote a national language, which is not English or French, before talking about English and French. But I have no choice to talk about English and French because that's what is prevailing now, and that's what we've inherited. And looking at the trend at which the bilingualism issue in Cameroon is unfolding, based on the commission created, or even before the commission created, I would say that assessing its achievements at the individual level of Cameroonians, people have really been making efforts to speak both languages at their individual level. But looking at the administration, the public service, it's still predominantly French. Looking at military service in Cameroon is completely French. Looking at presidential management in Cameroon is predominantly French. So when you look at the services rendered by the public administration, which is supposed to serve members of the public, English, French, you begin to ask yourself questions if we are really promoting bilingualism. Some few weeks ago, I saw a report of a TV station on a particular school in the West Region, Bambutus, where some children consume drugs there, and when they were showing the signboard of that school, I look at funny translations, and these are most of the little things that makes some of us from the southern Cameroons with our own colonial heritage to be frustrated. That, yeah, but why should a government, a state with its arms and a commission working to promote bilingualism and culture, not take note of poor translation or poor, poor language of another language that, according to Article 3, Sub 3 of our Constitution, they have equal status and they are supposed to function in the same manner. You will hardly see a poorly written French almanac or banners or translation somewhere, but it is frequently English. That is to tell you the level of ineffectiveness, and it is not taken with a lot of seriousness. It's taken with levity. And this syndrome in the geographical location of the capital of Cameroon, also Yaoundé, is a serious problem in Yaoundé. Most Anglophones are frustrated working in Yaoundé because of the predominant people who are in the place do not, first of all, make effort to speak. If they take the capital of Cameroon out of Yaoundé to another place, the level of bilingualism will emancipate faster because everybody will be going to that neutral place, will fight to know. But when people come and meet you in your own area and everything is passing around there, and you have the advantages of working or not working, you enjoy because you are geographically favored, it becomes difficult. So these are the aspects of bilingualism in Cameroon that is frustrating Cameroonians. Everything boils down to the people. If the population are not enjoying the services of a commission that has been formed, I don't see the need for that commission. If you go to public service in Cameroon and you get frustrated by the use of French language or a communique or a document, and you take it to Bilingualism Commission or lay a complaint, that complaint will go nowhere, because the Bilingualism Commission and the Commission for Anti-Corruption, where you CONAC, all of them are working to save the CPDM-led regime.
Okay.
They are not working to favor Cameroon.
Yep. If Tiku Felix is ready, can we get his intervention?
Happy New Year to all of you. Mr. Leo, I want to believe that the aspect of setting up a bilingualism commission in Cameroon is a very wonderful move. It is a very good and a very important gesture. But as you know, no matter how good a gesture or a project is, what actually gives it credibility is a motive behind it. No matter how much I receive from you or how wonderful your gifts to me are, so long as the motive of your giving is wrong, it means even the fruit it will bear will be bad fruit. Let me put it this way. Like I just said, Cameroon is a bilingual country in which one language claims supremacy based on numerical advantage and has decided to erase the reality of it through a planned assimilation which actually didn't work, like the head of state cited. And one of the means or one of the reasons why the Anglophone problem we have today escalated. Should there have been a successful assimilation, Mr. Leo, would we have been talking of, or should we have been talking about the bilingual nature of Cameroon? The Bilingualism Commission, as we know, was created as a tool to reinforce national unity and to create an atmosphere in which Cameroonians will have that willingness to live together. But unfortunately, it came at a time, that's at the time of its creation, the crisis and the urge of the Anglophones to live as an independent entity had reached its peak. Thus, to me, the creation of the commission was not relevant, since it would be incapable of actually carrying out the task for which it was being created. A bilingualism commission for a bilingual country like Cameroon is good for checks and balances to make sure that the equal status aspect is implemented. But with Cameroon's situation, the commission died before it was even created. Mr. Leo, I believe and I know that the members of the Bilingualism Commission in Cameroon, they didn't actually have a clue to what their actual function is, since they were there just to be used as a tool for a scam solution to the escalated Anglophone crisis in Cameroon. So they were there, but what actually a bilingualism commission should perform, its actual function, was not what these ones were created to actually do in Cameroon.
Okay, Tiku Felix, you think like Tiku, or you have the impression that things have moved, especially when it comes to the government circle?
When it comes to the government circle, I will look at it differently from the non-governmental organizations and from the individual standpoint of view. This is some of the resistance and issues, conflicts that America has been having with China ever since its relationship with China. China has always kept their tradition and have refused to integrate themselves to the American way of life. And that has created tension for all these years between America and China. We don't refuse that there's always an added advantage when you are capable of speaking multiple languages. It's a very sweet and a tremendous opportunity anybody can have, being a linguistic, mastering other languages. I think that it was a good vision, but the question here is, who do we want to, the bilingualism is on what side? Because if you look at it from the side of the structure of the government, we understand that it was assimilation. So you are assimilating the Anglophones to speak French. The question here is, do you want the French to speak English? The answer here was no in the first place. So you realize that even at the level of the head of state, he does not speak English. He finds very difficulty speaking English. Normally, if you are promoting bilingualism as a head of state, you should have made every effort. I know an old man who leaves China, leaves France, leaves Germany. Once he enters into a different country, the first thing he does is to make sure he makes every effort to speak the language of that country, which is very important because that's the culture. So you realize that at the level of our government, that effort is not being made. But Cameroonians are making the efforts to be bilingual. We have seen at the level of the Cameroonians themselves, that has shown a lot of changes. A lot of Anglophones speak French, and a lot of Francophones today do speak English. Francophones have their children sent to English schools, where their children now are probably the next generation coming up, they will totally bilingual. But now look at the structure of the government. That is where the resistance is, and that's what the head of state was talking about, the assimilation. And that's when you go back to history, you come to realize that the French, France then taught the French Cameroon how to colonize the English Cameroon. That's where the whole idea of assimilation came from. So you look at it in this way, Mr. Liu, the government should not really have been promoting bilingualism alone, but we should have had another language that we should have put also as our official language, while we also promote bilingualism, because it stands today in Cameroon, we have only English and French, and that is what we inherited from our colonial background, which I would say that is the only good thing, I would say, that after all the catastrophe they had caused here, that was the only thing that was good that they left with us, was the language. So you realize that, like I said, Mr. Liu, language is a culture, and this was done because it makes it in such a way that they can always, there will always be a breach of connection. There will always be a flow of communication when you have passed the people your culture. For example, in a country like Germany, you will not be given a visa if you have not done the basics in German, because they understand that not only would you find the culture in their language, not only would you find how to move around the country if you don't know the language, because they only have one dialect, and which is the Dutch. So the language is very important. So Cameroon becoming a bilingual country, I think that if I look at today, comparing to many years ago, I think that, Mr. Liu, gradually we are taking a step forward into the bilingualism, but at the level of the government, the state itself, that is not being promoted the way they have, the way the commission is being built. That's why I'm saying here, Mr. Liu, is that when you talk about bilingualism, we understand that the French do dominate. We don't refuse that, but it doesn't change the fact when you are talking about bilingualism. That means there must be a balance, whether it is 1,000 over 100. The 1,000 should be able to speak the English, and the 100 is supposed to be able to speak the French. So it doesn't matter on the population. We are talking of bilingualism, but at the level of the government, we don't see that. And that's why I realized that at that point, they keep the tradition. And at the level of out of the government, they promote it. So you come to realize that the system of still assimilation still stands in place while we still talk about bilingualism.
You have the impression that nothing has changed since the creation?
No. For the commission itself, Mr. Liu, for the commission itself, like he cited, if you go to a place like Yaoundé, typically Yaoundé, that is a village, how many people living there, working in the government administration that do speak English? That is a question you need to ask. At the level of the capital, we are talking here of capital, Mr. Liu. We are not talking of other areas in Cameroon. That's the capital. And that capital itself is not being promoted. Then how do you expect now the commission to work effectively when the heads themselves violate the very commission which they put in place? That's my point I'm making, that the common man is making more efforts than the government itself.
Now, I want us to look at the relevance of this commission. We are in the middle of an Anglophone crisis, and the president comes up with the Bilingualism Commission. How relevant was it? Does it actually...
You see, in my own opinion, the reason why this thing was created was because, one, the commission was supposed to make sure that Cameroon is bilingual and united, indivisible. That is one. Number two, that they want to make sure that whether you are Francophone or Anglophone, you should see yourself as a brother's keeper. Number three, we should believe in the corporate existence of Cameroon as one country, one nation, one entity. We should not start talking about separation or secession. And in my opinion, that's how I see why this commission was created. But again, But again, the prevailing situation in the Northwest and Southwest, the animosity, the tensions, the killings and what have you, it will not make the Bilingualism Commission to achieve its aims and objectives. They cannot move around, they cannot talk to people, and no matter how good the intention of the commission was, no matter the aims and objectives, but the prevailing circumstances in the ground could not prevail them to achieve what they are supposed to do because of the prevailing situation. No matter how the aims and objectives are good, their functions are good, but it is a wrong it's a wrong decision taken at the wrong time because of the prevailing situation in the Norway and Southwest. And that is why the commission has died a natural death because they have not achieved one of the objectives. They could not even go around and educate people, inform people, and sensitize people on why they were even formed or created.
They were in Buea and Bamenda.
Okay, all of these are capitals. But is Buea? Is it the entire Southwest? Is Bamenda the entire Northwest? No, sir. It's not so. They are supposed to go down to the divisions, maybe to the subdivisions, and pass their mission, their messages. But they could not do that because of this prevailing situation on the ground in the Northwest and Southwest region. So I think, as I said, to me, I see as a elephant, it's a white elephant structure created for people to chop money or eat money because since they were created, their impact was not felt by the common man in the Northwest and Southwest region. But until now, the commission has died a natural death.
How can you say it's dead when we know that they had a budget for this year now?
They had a budget, but what is that? That's what they had. That's what I say. It's a white elephant structure created for people to eat money because up to today, the impact of the commission is not felt in the Northwest and Southwest region. Nobody knows their aims and objectives. Nobody knows their functions.
You mean the local man?
I mean the local man on the ground. So I mean when I'm talking about the local man on the ground. So you see, it's an inner house affair. Only the commission members and the inner caucus of the presidency know the aims and objectives why that thing was created. Because what they could have done was to something like a voice box somewhere. So that people should contribute the idea as to how the commission could move around, but that was not done. You see, they put it all over. People should contribute the idea how the commission. It was not done. So it was an internal matter of the presidency and the commission members, and they did not go anywhere. And yet they have been allocated another budget again for this year. What for?
To function, they need to work now. They are holding seminars and that the exchange. Let's once again listen to Atiku Felix.
Mr. Leo, the Bilingualism Commission, it has a mission to promote or to monitor the implementation of constitutional provisions establishing French and English as two official languages of equal status. Mr. Leo, they talk of equal status, and especially ensuring their use in all government services, semi-public bodies, as well as any state subsidized body. It also has the responsibility with receiving petitions against discriminations arising from non-compliance with the constitutional provisions on bilingualism and multiculturalism and reporting thereon to the President of the Republic. It also has a duty to perform any other task assigned to it by the President of the Republic, including mediation. How many years today since its creation we can't talk or have not even heard of a single act or gesture initiated by this commission on the aspect of mediation, Mr. Leo? So what tack do we give it here? Talking about the aspect of the two official languages having equal status, it is kind of provocative. This commission is not only irrelevant, it has not only failed, but has wasted the country's resources and money and needs to be dissolved with the immediate effect. That is my take. Mr. Leo, all those appointed to run this commission need to be brought to book. When you get to our courts in the NOSO today, that's the Northwest and the Southwest regions today, when you get to the financial sectors of all the delegations, all the ministries, when you read communiques from Yaoundé, from the various ministries, Mr. Leo, it becomes so frustrating. I mean, even now, when we have a commission called Bilingualism Commission with a task of making sure there is equal status in the implementation of the English and the French, which are the two official languages, but yet French still proves its dominance. Even our own Prime Minister and the Minister of Territorial Administration, they are Anglophones, but everything they do is French. Normally, they were supposed to implement the bilingual aspect of it. I want to believe this is what Bilingualism Commission needs to be doing. The Prime Minister cannot be addressing the body of ministers in French, whereas he is an Anglophone, a representation of the Anglophones. The Minister of Territorial Administration can't be doing same. French is proving its supremacy, and they are there to boost this aspect of French, proving its supremacy. This commission, Mr. Leo, I don't really know what we actually need to say. From all ministries, the worst of it, you get to the banks, CNPS, what of it, the military and the police, English is completely absent until it has been tagged French is the language of the military. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And we talk of Bilingualism Commission. We talk of equal status in two official languages. A commission that seems to be quiet and dead, yet having the mandate of receiving petitions against discriminations arising from non-compliance with the constitutional provisions on bilingualism and reporting to the President of the Republic. Wow, what a joke.
Okay, what a joke there from Tiku Felix all the way from Boya. Thank you for that contribution. Now, Fabrice Elena, what is the problem? The President of the Republic thought that Anglophones had a problem, or that maybe there was a problem of living together in Cameroon, and felt maybe that a bilingualism and multiculturalism commission could play a role in trying to bring in bridging the gap in Cameroon. But seemingly things are not working out. He raised it, and Atiku Felix is also raising, is it the issue of incompetence or the issue of less powers given to them, or why is it not working out?
Yeah, it's an issue of political will.
Okay.
It's an issue of political will because I would say it's an issue of political will because for some time now we've seen that the President of the Republic himself have not been an active president. He has just been receiving reports. And most of the commissions he created as an attempt to maybe appease the Anglophones for the crisis, or to solve the Anglophone crisis, or what he thinks, or maybe his collaborators tell him will be a solution to Anglophone crisis, have all failed, including the Commission for Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism. Because when you want to create something that is to make everyone feel belong, you have to first of all try as much as possible to promote it. I don't think that if someone who does not know Chinese is sent to China as an ambassador, and then in a cultural festival in China, authorities decide to invite you, and maybe you go and someone write you a speech in Chinese and try to groom you up, and you go and in the presentation you make mistakes. Chinese will laugh at you because they know that is not your language of education or the language with whom you have grown up. At this stage, given the age of the President of the Republic, given for how long he has managed this country, we should have even expected that one of his addresses, be it end of year speech, be it address to youth, be it in kind of emergency issues, he should come up and even address the people in the English language to respect even that constitutional provision of the equal status of the language. There will be some sort of what we call humility in service, the servant of a leadership. But like my brother said, it's like provocation, where there is some sort of divine leader who the bilingualism issue does not concern him. Because leader is example. If he's leading like that, it means he is the one giving impetus to the Prime Minister, to the Minister of Territorial Administration, to Secretary General of the Presidency, and the rest of the people managing the military not to care about the other language. Because the first citizen of the country doesn't care. So I think it is a matter of political will. Because if the political will is to make sure that Cameroon and Cameroonians speak these two languages, is inculcated in their institutions. Before the Anglophone crisis, what used to happen? A lot of Anglophone parents send their children into Francophone system of education. A lot of Francophone parents and even civil administrators send their children to Anglo-Saxon system of education in Bamenda, Boya, and the other schools that they used to admire a lot. And these children come out bilingual because their language of growth is French, and they go to school and learn in English and grow up to be bilingual. Some ministers have been making effort. When they grant interview, they speak in the language that the person granting the interview takes, or the media house or the news that is going to be presented is to be presented in that language. But we see that in most of certain services that hold the what they call the membrane, the core of the country, it is not implemented there. And that's why it's like some of these things are just done to like, okay, in this sector we can grant, but when it comes here, no. Especially in what they call Secretariat d'État de la Défense in Yaoundé, what they call SET in Yaoundé. In SET, everything is French. I have been questioned there. And I remember the first time I go there, I said my original language is English. I cannot be questioned in French. I must have a lawyer who will interpret what you were saying. And the report you're reading should be translated so that you have my... It was a total argument that led to some kind of negotiation at the end after a long time. Because these are frustrations that Cameroonians go through. Because this is the same thing that took so many people in Northwest and Southwest to go to prison because of their inability to express themselves in the other language, because the military and uniform officers, their language of operation is French, which is totally unacceptable.
Just need to accept the fact that many of these commissions were created to please some diehard supporters of the regime, cause they show no example to the population as far as promotion of bilingualism in Cameroon is concerned. Terence is writing from Mutengene. Good evening to you, Terence. Dear Mr. Liu, good evening. It's Emma from Bamenda. I do agree with Felix that the creation of the commission is good, but the motive is not there. Let's compare it with Canada, where the commission has powers to reinforce and prosecute defaulters, but that of Cameroon is take report to head of state. What a shame. Too less bold doc. Good evening to you. Hi, Liu. It's exciting to speak multiple languages, but the Bilingualism Commission is a shadow of itself. We should focus on valorizing our vernaculars as it's done in other African countries. This can be more unifying. The problem with Cameroon is poor leadership. J.N. Agbo, good evening to you, Mr. Agbo. Good evening, Mr. Liu and Mr. Kum and the other. That I don't know his name. What I want to say is that the UN, UK, and the so-called AU are all toothless bulldogs. They could back very well to the hearing of everyone, but cannot bite. I'm Jin, writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Jin. Hello, Mr. Leo. Good evening to you and all the panelists in the House. The government should not think they can use bilingualism to bring a united Cameroon, because that can only happen in dreams. A man's house who is on fire does not go chasing after rats. Collins is writing from Tombel. Greetings. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Desmond Foba from Douala. I think Bilingualism Commission has done nothing better. For example, since its creation, what good example have they done as compared to bilingualism? And who have they even sanctioned for not moving official documents in both languages? Okay. Thank you, dear panelists, for stressing on the word new colonialism. a word most of our speakers scarcely use on this our struggle. Okay. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu. Even when we go to the Cameroon embassy in Germany, if you can't speak French, almost no one attends to you. If you are fortunate to meet an Anglophone personnel, fine. Whether this commission has changed things in the administration, I doubt. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Please, since the creation of this bilingualism thing, amidst this crisis, where is the office found in the Northwest and Southwest? And why is the Crise still coming out in French? And is it impact since its creation? Please, let them solve the Anglophone problem then. This numerous communication creation. Okay. Claudia is writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Liu. To all the panelists, I think we should stop calling for international bodies for help because all are under the EU. They produce guns and sell to us to kill ourselves. Mr. Bako, please take the lead. We are behind you. Paul Noel is writing from the United Arab Emirates. Mr. Bako, how do we get this commission functional so that Cameroonians can reap benefits?
Mr. Liu, you see, in 1960 to 1972, the population of these two countries was about 7 million, which was made of the French and the English, which at that point it should have been stressed that the unity of these two people should be defined in bilingualism. Even when after the incumbent president took over power, that should have been stressed for the need for bilingualism in this country to unify the people or to bring about unism. But like I still say that the Commission for Bilingualism is coming up at the wrong time, that it cannot create the kind of effect which it could have when it was still due time, when the country was still young and growing. At this point right now, it will not create any effect, and that is why I said that it is not there for the French in the French administration to learn English, because if by now we are still talking about bilingualism, the head of state should have known that when you are appointing somebody, whether as a minister or as who, should at least capable enough to express his or herself both in English and in French with no stress. That is not the case we have. So what I'm saying, Mr. Liu, is that we still talk again of bilingualism, and yet we are using French CFA, and we are talking of bilingualism in Cameroon. You realize certain contradictions, and you begin to ask yourself, Mr. Liu, is that how far is this bilingualism going to take us far into where we are supposed to go to? It is true that the language was supposed to play, as our other co-panelists they said, was supposed to play in the advantage of the unity of this country and the strength of the people. Because if the head of state could understand English, knowing that the people from the English Cameroon, that is their modern language which they inherited from a very horrific history, should know that their language is their culture, and it's easy for you to relate with the people when you know their language, because you know what they are going through and you know what they need. But when you don't even know the language, it's very difficult for you to even know what they are talking about and what they are complaining, because language seems to be the culture here.
No, but there's a video where the President of the Republic speaks English now.
Mr. Liu, we are not talking of one
of the U.S. presidents.
Yeah, we are not talking of how will I call it rhymes, where you go and how they call it.
Why can he not address
Cameroon?
Well, let him address Cameroon.
I am talking here of communication. We are not talking of rehearsals or saying a rhyme or what. We are talking of being able to communicate.
Even if he does the rehearsal here in Cameroon, we will appreciate.
That is what I'm trying to say. So we are not denying the fact that we have not had some statement made by the head of state in English. We have not refused that. But we are talking of the flow of English and French in the country.
Greetings to you and everyone in the studio. The administration should refrain from mental slavery. That is what is putting us in danger. No, bilingualism is a solution. We are a solution ourselves. Mr. Agbo Robert, writing from the United States of America, This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Delphine in Yaoundé. Please help me ask this question. Last week and no answer was given to. Please, sorry. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm married to my husband, happy with his condition, but he don't treat me well, and that condition is he is please, Delphine, if you are watching us from Yaoundé, tomorrow we are going to be talking about issues between couples. We are going to have some persons who are experts in that domain of husband and wife. So tomorrow, the program tomorrow is going to look at that aspect, why we have squabbles and misunderstanding in the home. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Bilingualism Commission has done nothing good. David is writing from Uyuka. David, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the viable guests in the studio. I wish to express my appreciation for the topic of discussion and the guests for doing a wonderful job. The Commission of Bilingualism is a good initiative, but for wrong timing and other commissions, it suffers from poor implementation and does not fall short of a limping giant. Mr. Ambe Emmanuel, writing from Baum in Bafut subdivision. Okay, that's as you enter Bafut. Okay, this one says, you have a right to. We have to get one last contribution from Tiku Felix, and then we call it a day for today.
Now, Mr. Leo, the question, have this commission actually achieved anything, is mind-blowing in the negative. To me, the question should be, what do they actually want to achieve? Remember, they report to the president, right? It is their duty, and one of their functions is to perform any other task assigned to it by the president of the republic, including mediation. So their mediation is obviously going to be in line with what the president deems necessary and what he defines as actual mediation. For example, Mr. Leo, if the so-called Grand National Dialogue, according to the president, was a success, though it yielded no fruit till date, and to us it was a failure. If the president terms it success, it means what the the Bilingualism Commission defines as achievements is not actually what we also define as achievement. Now, according to them, one of their achievements is that they granted audience to multitude of heads of diplomatic representatives based in Yaoundé and some senior officials of international organizations on their request. I can imagine if these organizations had not requested these audiences. Mr. Leo, it's so terrible. It's so terrible. I believe common sense will teach us that planting from the roots or building from the foundation is a guarantee that the structure is going to stand and it's going to yield good fruits and the goals are going to be achieved. If we want to give bilingualism the equal status, don't we think our schools should be targeted? Don't we think if we start implementing some of these rules in our schools, we are going to actually achieve what our goals are when we talk of bilingualism? What strategies have this commission put in place to enforce the teaching of English language in Francophone schools, Mr. Liu, since inception? Because as we know, Francophone schools have or Anglophone schools have had English language being imposed on them because the agenda of assimilation.
Okay, we are caught by time. We have to end here. Just to say greetings, sir. This is Chief Moja. This your program is good, sir. May God bless you. Your Highness, Chief Moja. We are glad to know that you are watching, and we also say that God bless you out there. You should be watching us from, I'm sure, Boya. I hope when I come to Boya, we can meet. I'm sure. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Is Delphine? What time would the program start tomorrow? Delphine, the program will start tomorrow, 7 p.m. Tomorrow on this same edition, on this same program, we are going to be discussing about marital issues. Many problems are faced by many couples today. So tomorrow we are focusing on couples, what they ought to do to turn the situation around, because the divorce rates across the globe, Cameroon particularly, is also very alarming. Many messages, we can't read them because of time. I want to thank you, Mr. Suleiman, all the way from Kumba.
Yes. Yes, well, I'm happy that I'm here. I preside over the program. I contributed to the success of the program, and all I would tell my media prime is that a luta continua, victoria est certain.
We hope that the roads to Kumba are safer as you go back. Thank you, Fabrice Leonard. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure for me to be a guest in your program. And I want to say thank you to all our listeners and viewers.
And to you, Andrin Atemibako, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Komyonat. Thank all the other panelists and the viewers.
Special thank you to you too, Atiku Felix, who took part in the program from Boya. We equally want to say thank you to all of you who watched through the social media, you who watched from across the nation and beyond, and to the production team, Eli and Desmond, Noel and Bertrand working at the broadcasting. Equally to you, Tabi Tambe Bryant, who is supervising our work out there. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.